Welcome back, watchers and listeners. This holiday season, it's the first of the month. The cows are dancing, and the Chiefs are back to being 500 again because we didn't do a podcast episode last week. There was an amazing overtime thriller against the Colts where the Chiefs' game plan went almost according to plan until the end, and then they had to figure it out again, and we rushed the ball 30 times. I never thought I'd see the day that we had a running back with 30 carries. And then what do you know? We win. And then all of a sudden we go to the Cowboys and we are on Thanksgiving. You start hot. You get an interception to start the game. You get a touchdown in like 3 plays and then you lose the game. We're back to being 500. We're back to Talkin Chop. It's a snow day in Kansas City. I don't live there right now, but Garett does. So Garett is all bundled up in his awesome Chiefs blanket.
We got the cozy fits on. It's a snowy, cold day, windy day in the Kansas City metro, and we're just here to talk some chop after a very interesting and honestly very twisty and turvy kind of couple weeks when it comes to Chiefs football.
It looked like they had righted the ship. They beat the Colts at home, and then they did not right the ship. They never got the ball back against the Cowboys. Some might say, "Oh, there's some penalties," but we don't complain about penalties here. Although we will later. But I digress.
We complain about football, not about penalties.
Yes, the football's bad. Will the Chiefs make the playoffs? Who knows? Probably not. Some say, but I say probably yes. So we'll talk about all that as well as like the Tyrann Mathieu thing that came out today, and then a couple other news around the league. Hey, we might even talk about Lane Kiffin betraying Ole Miss and going to LSU because that was crazy. But we're always talking chop, and this show is always sponsored by Underdog. So big shout out to them. Garett, you know the rules.
Oh yeah, use code Talkin Chop or code Chop whenever you use Underdog Fantasy for a free $100 when you play $5. They've been a sponsor of the show for a long time. I use the app. We post some of my picks from time to time, so go on the Instagram, follow those picks if you want to. They've been a really good site, really easy. It just hires or lowers guys. It's as easy as it can get. If you know ball, you can make a lot of money. So use code Chop the next time you open up Underdog.
Well, and here we are again. Guys, this is another fine episode of Talkin Chop. I'm your host, David Pokorny, the host of Talkin Chop Instagram. I work in sports media, so this week has been hectic. I've been working games in Citadel versus Presbyterian basketball, Texas Longhorns, wrestling tournaments. It's been a crazy season for me in sports production. Garett just finished his coaching season at high school, Blue Valley North, offensive line coach over there. They ended the season pretty okay, but they look forward to next year because next year's going to be amazing.
As always.
So, yeah, guys, got a lot to talk about. Let's start with the Colts because, start with the good, then go to the bad, and in chronological order. The Colts game looked good from the get-go, but then it started to dissolve. I feel like this is, honestly, we're going to parallel that with the Cowboys game. We started hot in both those games, and then the middle, it goes like, where the hell is the offense again? And the defense is kind of sucking again. And then we clutched up at the end.
Yeah. Anytime if you've been a Chiefs fan for a long time, it's like we have been known as a one-half team, whether that's the first half, second half, or specific quarters. For the Colts game, it was the second quarter and the fourth quarter, right? Like, it just seems like our offense decides when and when not to just turn on the gas and, pump up the heat a little bit and actually put up some points. Usually, when our defense is also giving up points at the same time. It's an odd cycle that we go through, right? Where our defense will finally be getting stops. And when our defense is getting stops, that's when our 3-and-outs happen. And then when our defense lets up scores, that's when our offense decides, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to actually play some football and get the ball in the end zone. Same thing happened pretty much against the Colts. Outcome was a lot different. I mean, we had a chance to put it away instead of going to overtime. Kind of fizzled out, once we get caught past the 50-yard line.
That was true.
Penalties happen. It is what it is. But still, we go to overtime, get the dub. That's all we needed, right? We were flying high going into Dallas on Thanksgiving. Honestly, really liked the game plan, right? As we talked about in the intro, 30 carries for Kareem Hunt, 36 total carries across running backs. That's what we've been begging for all season, and look at what it produces. A win against a gritty team that also loves to run the ball, which I said it. I'm going to say I called it. Guess who we stopped and who made little impact on the game? Jonathan Taylor. Called that from the get-go. Now, I did say Tyler Warren was going to be the major offensive output for the Colts, which, I mean, if we talk about it right, like Ashton Doolin had 1 catch for 48 yards, whereas Tyler Warren had 5 for 45. If we're talking pure outlook, Tyler Warren was their best offensive output throughout the game, so I'm going to take that as well.
Well, you also, and I can also add on the piggyback where I said a random backup tight end was going to go off against us. We predicted Mo Alley Cox or Granson. It turns out Ogletree was the one because
didn't even know he was on the roster.
Didn't even know he was there.
He just popped off for a tutty, you know?
Yeah, crazy. And that almost made the difference there, but it didn't. So that was good.
But like, you know, defense did their job in that game, held a really high-scoring offense to low points, allowed us to do our job on offense, which realistically, there were a lot of times where we left points off the board as well. But went out there, got a gritty win, right? I don't have too many complaints about the game plan. I mean, we went out there and we scored 23 points and Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown, right?
Yeah, so, that was crazy. And then the contrast, Mahomes throws 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys, no interceptions, and we don't win the game. So it could be too, like, we shouldn't be leaning on Mahomes so much, but then again, I think it was just the red zone play calling was different. You look at the numbers, he still had 350 passing yards in that game.
And I find it interesting too, because against the Colts, that was our first game where we had a 100-yard rusher in Kareem Hunt and a 100-yard receiver in Rashee Rice. That was the first time for both of those statistical numbers, and it happened in the same game. We have not had a 100-yard rusher this season.
Wow.
And we hadn't had a 100-yard receiver that season, and both happened in the same game.
That's a good note that you just caught, because we didn't have either of those against the Cowboys.
And
we did not have a 100-yard rusher or a 100-yard receiver.
It's interesting going from game plan to game plan, right? Like, obviously, the Colts defense compared to the Cowboys defense are 2 completely different units. However, I think we were still running the ball effectively against the Cowboys. It just
4.1 yards a carry with
still,
Kareem Hunt alone. Yeah.
And Kareem Hunt was averaging 3.5 against the Colts, and we gave him 30 carries. So we're dropping Kareem Hunt's carries from 30 to 17. 14. And our total...
He only had 14. He didn't even have 15.
And our total carries from 37 to, I think, 17 23. For running backs total.
Oh, for running backs only. Yeah, because Worthy had 2 carries. Mahomes had 3. So, yeah.
17. So I understand, 18. Yes, our receivers were eating. I get that at the same time. But when we're going on these long drives, right, I feel like the times where we have stalled the most as an offense is when we get into this pass-heavy mindset, right? Like, the majority of drives that I think we do well on, we're mixing a lot of these, like, fake RPO / QB read plays, focusing on the inside run. We try to get a little cute and hit the outside. Hasn't been working all that much. But once we find that rhythm of going between these, like, just ground and pound inside runs mixed with these quicker throws, then mixing in a deep shot, that's where we play our best football. But most of our 3 and outs come from first down pass, second down pass, third down pass. 3 and out. Right? Or even if we get, a first down here and there, right? It's like first down pass. I think we had a drive against the Cowboys where we had 7 straight passes and then it led to a punt, right? It's like,
yeah,
we talk all the time about keeping defenses honest, and that's kind of like a layman's term for, just run the ball more. It means a lot of different things, and it's not just running the ball. Like I talked about on the last podcast episode. And I saw this against the Cowboys as well. We like to run a lot of like fake QB reads for whatever reason. And I call them fake because the way Mahomes is reading these handoffs, it's in the same motion as if he's going to pull the ball and run it himself, but he never pulls the ball. So it's not forcing a defense to stay honest and maybe even like give a couple defenders Mahomes' way, because there was a couple times where we ran that play, Mahomes pulls that ball, it's 20 yards at minimum for a first. And he's just not pulling the ball for the read. And I don't know if this is designed. He's not supposed to pull the ball. It's just supposed to look like it. But it's just those kind of things where that's what keeping the defense honest means. It's how we talked about him with the RPOs, right?
It probably is all season. They tell him never pull the ball. And then in the playoffs, he pulls the ball, because you have a whole season's worth of 17 games of him not pulling the ball. And then the playoffs, he starts pulling the ball. And I think that's what we've shown the last couple seasons. But this year, that has to be now. The playoffs are now. The playoffs start tomorrow.
These are all playoff games from here on out, because we need to probably win out. If we're lucky, we can lose one more. Everything from right now is a playoff game for us, right? Like that, we have to get in. We have to win at minimum 4 of 5.
I agree. Now, another thing that was weird about the Cowboys game versus the Colts game that I noticed is the lack of Rashard Smith. He just disappeared. Like, he had 3 catches for 30 yards in the Colts game. We started using him out of the backfield. We just didn't throw it to a running back out of the backfield, man. I mean, Kareem Hunt had that 1 catch against the Cowboys that went like 22 yards, and that was awesome. But besides that, we did not throw it to our backs out of the backfield. And we only gave Pacheco 3 carries, and he averaged 5.3 yards a carry. And he had that 9-yard run right off the get-go. We had a lot of runs that were really long. Worthy had a 17-yard rush. Kareem Hunt had a 14-yard rush. Mahomes had a 16-yard rush. Pacheco had a 9-yard rush. Like, these are long runs that we hadn't seen all season, and we just went away from the run way too early again. We didn't control the clock. We didn't control drives. Our defense was tired. Our defense was asked to get a final stop on the final drive, give Mahomes another chance at the ball, and, you know, they couldn't do it. And some of that was penalties. Some of that was just they couldn't get a stop because they were tired. They're out there the whole game. I will say, though, the defense has been playing pretty mediocre this season. I'm not going to say they're playing bad, Garrett, because by any stretch of the imagination, they're not an awful defense, but they just aren't good. They're very average. And I don't know. I think something needs to change.
I think it's a mixture of our matchups in our specific positions being kind of taken advantage of, specifically with someone like Chamari Connor, like we had talked about before, him playing slot corner majority of the time, half and half playing safety and slot corner against a guy like CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, which that's automatically going to be a recipe for disaster, as well as teams are starting to realize that we cannot get pressure with our front 4, right?
Yeah.
So Spags is trying to emulate pressure and emulate sacks with everyone else that's not our front 4. And that's where you're seeing a lot of these guys blitz and, twist out of these odd packages and odd locations, which is why you see a lot of people, like when we're watching a football game, I see a lot of people, like if I'm in a bar or whatever, I hear, why aren't we covering the running back? Right? And it's because what Spags loves to do is he just loves to either send the flat defender or just not put one there just so we can add a little bit of pressure or a little leverage inside the box. And that's why there's no one covering him, because we're sending him to get to Dak before he can get the ball off. And it worked really well the first couple drives against the Cowboys. It got us that pick to start the game that allowed us to get up really fast, right? But they adjusted. And Spags was so stuck in his mindset or his scheme or his game plan for that game that he was going to send pressure and die trying, and boy, did we die trying.
Yeah. Honestly, Dak played an amazing game. It reminded me of like Michael Penix versus the Texas Longhorns in the CFP game. It was like Dak just played a perfect game. Like, you just couldn't get to him. I mean, besides that first interception that he threw at the very beginning of the game, he was just perfect after that. Yeah.
I don't know the blitz percentage for the game, but I think we might have blitzed 60% of our plays, especially on those later, like second and third downs. I mean, we were sending the house on those 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9s where Pickens or Lamb would, get open. We're not going to talk about how they got open sometimes. It is what it is.
We will. So I'm looking at Chamari Connor's stats right now, and Garrett was talking about the safeties getting blitzed a lot. He was blitzed a lot because he had 4 pressures in the game, which is crazy. His season high for him. 4 pressures in the game, 3 QB hurries, 1 QB hit. But also he was in coverage a lot because when he wasn't blitzing, he was playing slot corner for some reason. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 108 yards allowed, and a touchdown allowed, and a penalty. And it's just unacceptable. 3 missed tackles too. If you look at the advanced metrics, like the Cowboys saw something on tape. Let's expose Chamari Connor. And boy, howdy, did they expose Chamari Connor. I have been one of his defenders in the podcast. If you go back to those older episodes, I think he was overhated initially. I was like, oh, it's because he had to play slot corner last season because it was a necessary thing. We didn't have the talent to do that. Now that we do, he shouldn't be playing there anymore. He plays okay when he's not there. But then now he's there again, and Noel Williams is not playing on the sideline anymore. He last played in the Bills game, it feels like. And it's like, what? I feel like some of our personnel decisions are so interesting. And we tried to put Christian Fulton back in the lineup again, and then it
And he
didn't
was
work.
Terrible.
And it didn't work. So guess what? He's a healthy scratch again. And that's another $20 million that we could be getting another edge rusher or a rotational corner or another safety because Mike Edwards had to play. Mike Edwards was good when he played for the Chiefs. He was a very good veteran safety when he played for the Chiefs and we won the Super Bowl. He was awesome for that. He is not, he's
not
washed.
the same guy.
He's too slow. Like, I mean, I love Mike Edwards, and it sucks to see him have to play out there right off the practice squad. He should not be out there because we need a better safety. We talked about this at the top of the show, Garrett. A lot of people talking about losses that we had this offseason. One not getting talked about enough. I'll do my guy, you do yours. Justin Reed. Like, I was a proponent of we don't need Justin Reed anymore. He's too expensive. Get rid of him. Like, he only would cost $10 million. Well, that $10 million is what we ended up paying Christian Fulton. So would have liked to rather pay Justin Reed $10 million than Christian Fulton. Justin Reed was a veteran leader at the safety position. I think our safeties are so getting exposed. It's one of the underrated parts of our defense being bad is that our safeties are getting exposed. Jamari Connor, Brian Cook is okay. Jaden Hicks just doesn't play a lot. And when he does, he looks good sometimes, but he has been disappointing because I've had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to solve the problem. That's why I was so okay with losing Justin Reed. But that's one of the big losses. There was no replacement for Justin Reed. They did not get a safety. We did not sign a safety or draft a safety in this draft. We just lost one, and it's showing big time. Garrett, what's the other position on defense?
You know, another position on defense that we're struggling with, and we can't seem to find the answer, is we lost Turk Wharton as well. And I feel like when it comes to interior D linemen, like you think about the big names with like Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence II, right? But it's those twos that help eat up blocks and make those number ones on your team really stick out, really be phenomenal, let them do their thing. And Turk Wharton was our guy, right? He was the guy soaking up a lot of blocks that made Chris Jones, able to get open, get into these one-on-one positions, and allow when defensive lines rush a quarterback, right? It's all about lanes, right? We're trying to stay in our lanes and keep quarterbacks in certain positions, right? We say, how are these quarterbacks getting out of our sacks, right? The way edge rushers are taught to, rush on the outside of like either a left tackle or right tackle is we're keeping a hoop, we're keeping a circle, we're keeping the outside contained, right? Well, that's all good and dandy, but if a quarterback is able to step up in the pocket and slip out underneath, that's where we get a lot of our sacks that we miss, right? When we had Chris Jones and Turk Wharton in tandem, there was no stepping up into the pocket because they were already at your foot, right? So it's just collapsing all sorts of pressure and allowing us to get onto these quarterbacks where now defenses or offensive can now focus on specific players a la Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and let everyone else just get soloed and washed away. Which is why, crazy big stat that was really obnoxious, is that we played 4 games in the month of November. And our DNs combined for a total of 1 sack in 4 games. 1. Which is astronomically low. Our defensive line as a total have 15 combined sacks on the season. Myles Garrett has 19. One guy. So pressure has been an issue, and everyone's going to talk about George Karlaftis. Look, George is overhated. I understand he's not performing to the level that we really need him to be for the first round pick and for the contract, but he is a really solid player working in a scheme that is not helping him in the slightest, right? And with the combination of losing players and just getting put in these positions where we are just not allowed to do what we want to do on defense, it's like we can't finish sacks. And no wonder we went 1-3 in November because we cannot pressure quarterbacks.
No, you're right. And you have to orchestrate pressure by getting safeties and corner blitzes and all this fancy stuff, linebacker blitzes. Leo Chenal gets, he gets some pressure here and there too. Drew Tranquil had that 2-sack game really early in the season. But then you're exposing something else. You leave a tight end more open than usual on a chip block. You leave a wide receiver wide open in the flat. And teams have exposed us that way. You saw the Commanders with Jeremy McNichols, like he had a good game because we weren't covering the running back in the flat. So there are other things. Teams have such an answer for what we're doing. It's not working anymore. And to people too who might be stat watchers, when you were talking about Turk Wharton, I immediately was like, oh, let's go look at the stats. He only had 2 sacks this year so far. It's only been 9 games. Before that, he had like 2 sacks, 2 sacks, 1 sack, 2 sacks, and then his amazing season that got him paid when he had 6.5 sacks last year. But he's already hit, Garrett, his career high in tackles by far this season. He has his career high in tackles this year already. So like he's impacting the game in other ways. He always has impacted the game under the radar. It's just Chris Jones isn't even getting tackles. Like, okay, let's, for example, Tershawn Wharton has 36 tackles. I need to look up Chris Jones tackles right now because I know for a fact he does not have 36 tackles on the season. He has, oh my gosh, where is it? He has 20. Chris Jones has 20 tackles on the season this far already. Tershawn Wharton has 36. So already you're seeing what the impact of losing a guy like Turk Wharton is. And it was a guy that, how much did he get paid, Garrett? Because maybe you could have paid him instead of Christian Fulton, because that could be another thing.
I think Turk Loki got a bag, but regardless, it's like people were just frustrated, and they were like, why were we just getting torched in our secondary against the Cowboys? Well, when we have a combined 13 safety blitzes and no sacks, that's how that happens. We're sending everybody trying to get to Dak before he can throw to CD or George Pickens or Turpin. And what happens? We don't get sacks. 13 safety blitzes in one game.
Yeah.
And we didn't get a sack? It's just
we didn't have a single sack the whole game?
No, we did not sack Dak one time.
We just naturally transitioned perfectly into the Cowboys game. And I think that's what we should keep talking about too. Ryan Flournoy, or however you say his name, even had like a decent game. Like, obviously, tight ends starts to eat us up. Jake Ferguson was the safety blanket. Like, Dak was just taking what we were giving him. They were just throwing the ball. And you know what, Garrett? I want to give some compliments to our game. I want to say some good things. We only lost by 3, obviously. So, like, there were some highlights to the game. I mean, you don't score in the second and third quarter, and that was brutal because the Cowboys consistently scored across all 4 quarters. They were scoring the entire game. They were consistent. Yep. We were playing hot, and then we played horrible.
One half team. We're a 1/2 team.
But I will commend the play call to Jared Wiley on that 4th and 1. I loved that play call, and I actually called it. Only my family will know because I was watching the game with my family. I was like, Jared Wiley is going to get this pass on 4th and 1. I saw him go in motion. I was like, I don't think the Cowboys are expecting Wiley to do it. That's only his 2nd career catch, by the way, Garrett. 4th round pick, too. Kind of a disappointment. But granted, I'm glad he got the catch. That was a great play call. I want to see more play calls like that. I think we will start to see more play calls like that in the future because it's playoffs now. And we're going to talk about what we
did against the Browns in that playoff game where Chad Henne threw that like little quick motion out route to Tyreek, but then in this case it was Jared Wiley. But like, yes, our offense did, put up. I mean, we put up 28 points, lost by 3, but I just want to see consistency, right? I'm so tired of seeing zeros in specific quarters, right?
Yeah,
it's like
that's kind of
first and third quarter, or first and fourth quarter, we put up 14 points each. Like, what happened in the second and the third, right? So it's just like, we need to be able to put out a product, especially when our defense is playing not up to par, consistently. And that I think that starts with the run game, right? Like, I'm an offensive line guy. I might be a little more biased towards the run, but we play better when we give our running backs more carries. We don't have the best running backs in the league. Actually, low-key, we might have probably a bottom 5 running back tandem in the league right now. Bottom 3?
I don't know who's worse. Like, I feel like every team's got a good running back right now.
And we can still run the ball, right? So it's not a scheme issue. It's a play calling issue. When it comes to leavening up the duties and allocations throughout the game and just easing up on Mahomes. Like, everyone's talking about, like, oh, Mahomes has to do this, Mahomes has to do this. We gave Kareem Hunt 30 carries against the Colts, and we did just fine, right? Yeah. Mahomes doesn't have to be the hero every single game. And he was having some lights out plays. Like, that was probably one of the best Mahomes' best games of the season, right? But like, he still had his moments where he wasn't consistent. right?
It's like 2018 all over again. And hey, did he miss Worthy on a deep bomb again this game? I
Yeah,
don't remember. I mean, yeah, but like
he's still missing on the deep ball, which I'm hoping, if we make the playoffs, he can have it fixed by then, right? But this upcoming next couple weeks is really going to be determinative of are we going to make the playoffs or not. Like our
yes.
associate producer Jackson has been saying mathematically he is still confident.
I'm
And
confident. I'm confident. Garrett's not confident. You can say what you want.
look, I feel like obviously I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm going to be biased when I say, hey, I'm going to root for the boys every time. But I'm more of a realistic person when it comes to football. This year, dude, I could see 20 different teams winning the Super Bowl. Like there has just been so many upsets, so many I'm not going to say
teams.
I'm not going to say low quality teams rising up from the ashes and just becoming solid. But I mean, there's so many teams that are floating around that 7-4, 6-5 range that it's just going to be like a crapshoot trying to get in the playoffs. And I could see anybody losing to anybody. I mean, we just had on Monday or Sunday night, sorry, the Eagles losing to the Bears, right? And the Bears are 9-3.
The Bears are the 1 seed now in the NFC. The Bears are the 1 seed right now.
Honestly, like I understand, I'm a Chiefs fan. We're not in a great position right now, but this has been one of the more fun NFL seasons because of how much craziness is going on with seeding. There are so many teams that have just been put by the wayside for the past 5 years that are suddenly in the limelight because now the Bears are 9-3 after missing the playoffs for how many years in a row, right? Ever since the Mitch Trubisky years.
And then look at the Panthers. The Panthers just beat the number 1 Rams out of nowhere. And that honestly put the Bears back in the 1 seed, or for the 1 seed for the first time in a while. The Panthers have looked solid all year. And that's the craziest part, too. They've beat the Packers. They have some quality wins.
That Panthers defense is legit. Like, I'm not even going to lie. That's a legit defense.
And Bryce Young has looked better every day. And he'll have his bad games, but damn, they can run the ball. They have good pass catchers. Like, fun to watch the Panthers, too. And you're talking about the Cowboys, who just beat us. I said in our podcast episode before the break that we went on for Thanksgiving, the Cowboys are no longer a free win. Once they got 5 defensive starters back after the bye week, the Cowboys are no longer a free win. They're a really good team. They could make a push for the playoffs too, which I would love to see because you know what? If they beat us, go show that you're good and go make the playoffs now, Cowboys. I'm rooting for you the rest of the way because
and when it comes to playoffs, right? Like I think the only front runner that we can definitively say is a front runner in either side is the Seahawks, right?
Or the Pats. The Pats are safe.
Well, I mean, I don't think the Pats, I'm talking about making the Super Bowl. Like
the Rams.
Obviously the Pats are going to make the playoffs just with that cupcake schedule. But
he's such a hater. He doesn't believe in Drake May.
No,
May, Drake
I do not.
May.
I do not believe in Drake May. Okay, but
dude, I need him to save my fantasy season tonight. So he better go crazy.
It's just of all the NFL seasons for this to happen. I mean, there are so many teams that are just nipping at each other's heels, just clawing their way. Like I don't think I've ever seen this competitive of a playoff
NFL.
picture on both sides of the board in years.
And look at the Jets. They just beat the Falcons. And with Adonai Mitchell looking great, the Jets might have a bright future next year if they get the right quarterback because they actually have pieces. I loved that trade. Honestly, the Sauce Gardner trade looked like a really good trade. I mean, the Quinnen Williams one, maybe not, but maybe it is because they needed more pieces. So, I mean, lots of things to be excited about around the NFL. But I do think that the way that the schedule has lined up, the way that the home and away games are this year, who plays who, I think that the Chiefs have a very good shot of making the playoffs if they can take care of their own business. I think all the magic that you need to happen of people losing out and whatnot, that's going to happen. The magic that we need to make the playoffs is going to happen. It really just falls on, can Kansas City do it? Can we win our games? And here's the thing, Garrett. We were talking about this before the show. I still think this is the best team. I think this is a better team than last year. I still think on paper and almost in practice too, it's a better team. There's more talent, but there are some missing talent in different places. And we'll go back to this, Garrett. The one thing that I could see ending our season right now is perfect time to transition to the injury report. Josh Simmons is going to miss a lot of time.
This
Jawan
is the
Taylor.
exact reason I'm not as confident as you guys are.
And yeah, I kind of keep forgetting that because that's huge. Josh Simmons is going to miss a lot of time. He might be back for the playoffs if we go to the playoffs. Jawan Taylor went out in the Cowboys game, and Trey Smith did not play in the Cowboys game. You're down 3 offensive linemen, and Mahomes is running for his life doing classic Mahomes shenanigans. Honestly, Garrett, I wonder if all those offensive linemen going down is the reason why Andy Reid got scared to run the ball. And I will say, the Cowboys' run defense is literally so much improved from the Cowboys' run defense that let Devon Achane run crazy against them or whatever happened earlier in the season. I think every running back ever went off against the Cowboys before the bye week, and then after the bye week, it's literally been like, you can't run against the Cowboys anymore. Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and like Ozo Ighodaro and all those guys are just like stuffing the run. And it's awesome. It's awesome to watch, I will say. But we went out 3 offensive linemen, all of a sudden we couldn't do anything. So maybe that's a reason. Jawan Taylor is likely back. God damn, he had another penalty in the freaking Cowboys game. I'm really tired of it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm getting tired of the pre-snap calls too.
It's I can understand holding calls because it is what it is. Those happen, but like pre-snap penalties, dude. Like lining up in the right spot. How are you still getting that wrong?
Like,
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I have been a Jawan Taylor supporter this year. He gets so much hate. I understand, but like at some point, you got to do what you got to do for the money, bro. Like, it is so simple to line up in the right spot, especially a tackle. You're not lining up in other spots, bro. It's the same spot every time. It's not like your receiver going out in different trip sets, duo sets. 13 per, like, you're not moving around. You're in the same spot every time. How are you missing it? I don't understand. But regardless, he'll be back most likely. Jalen Moore
Smith?
will go to. I haven't heard about Trey Smith. I haven't seen him on the injury report yet. But Jalen Moore will be back at left tackle. Which, here's another odd thing that happened during the game, which I was curious on why they did that. So, Jawan Taylor came out in the game. This was while Josh Simmons was still in. Jawan Taylor got out. They put Jalen Moore at right tackle, right? I was like, okay, this is fine, which makes sense because if you got one tackle out, put your best guy in, put him at right tackle. He's played it before. That's fine. Right tackle is not his not his good position at all, but it was doable. Tackle. It's better than Wanya Morris at right tackle, right? Then Josh Simmons comes out of the game. I'm thinking, we just move Jalen Moore over to left tackle, put blanket on the dude's name, Wanya Morris at right tackle where he plays, and then we're okay. For some reason, they kept Jalen Moore at right tackle and put Wanya Morris at left tackle, which blew my mind on why that decision was made. Not sure why that happened, but both Wanya and Jalen Moore at those respective positions played really bad. They let up pressures. I think Wanya Morris had 17 snaps and he let up like 3 pressures. It was awful.
It's like they flipped them, which is so weird.
I don't understand that decision. So going forward, I'm not sure what they're going to do, especially if Jalen Moore gets down. Right?
Jawan Taylor, you mean? Or if Jalen Moore goes
both of them could go down for all we know, right? But heaven forbid something happens to either of those two. We cannot, under any circumstances, let Wanya Morris play left tackle. We can't do it. Put Essapol in there. Essapol season. We elevated him. I don't know why he didn't play.
No, they elevated him only to healthy scratch him at the last second. I think they might have thought like a last minute decision, like, hey, we might decide Pole over Wanya, and they ended up going Wanya. And dude, Essa might have played. He might have played.
Look, I hate trashing people. I hate putting people down because they're all out there grinding every single day. Playing the game.
Been here too long, man.
Wanya's bad, dude. I'm sorry. Like he's not good anymore, or he was never good. But like at
he was
one
a
point,
developmental prospect.
He was developmental, and he was serviceable at the start. And now it's just like every time he goes in the game, I'm like, all right, game over. Like,
also, I don't feel like they give him much confidence, especially when you're like basically telling Kareem Hunt, hey, he's not going to block well. We just have to have Kareem Hunt be an extra offensive lineman at this point and block whoever Wanya's blocking to. And it's like he's not going to have confidence that way. And also that eliminates like so much of what you can do on offense when you have
especially
Wanya
telling him, "Hey, go out there at left tackle, buddy. Good luck." Like it was not a recipe for success, and it showed, especially in the most crucial moments of the game, which was late.
So our associate producer Jackson just gave us an update on Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor. Andy Reid says, we'll see. They're improving as they go forward. We'll see how they do in the next couple of days. So that's not really an endearing, resounding statement about saying if they're going to play or not. So
Andy vague post read as usual. I love Andy.
He also said that what did he say? We're going to tickle your throats or something for the rest of the season?
Tickle your uvula or whatever. Like I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
It means he's actually going to call plays that win games because now we're going to call.
I love Andy Reid.
I
I think all the people saying that he should be fired are just bandwagon losers. But like his press conferences recently have been getting me a little annoyed because they're asking him, how do you think we're going to turn the season? He's like, well, I think we're going to win out. We just one or two plays and we're in a better position. I'm like, you've been saying that for weeks now, brother. You've been saying it for weeks. Something's got to change.
He has been saying it for weeks. He has been saying it for weeks. And I will say, Paul, dude, I'm just thinking about the Jags game, thinking about the Bills game. Like, that Hollywood Brown 1 yard short of the end zone before halftime touchdown against the Bills. That could have changed this whole season. We'd be talking about the Bills fighting for a playoff spot, not the Chiefs. It's just one game mattered so much now. I'm tired of taking the season for granted. I think that's one of the big changes that needs to happen is we've been so lackadaisical in the regular season because we know we can turn it on during the playoffs and actually call plays that win games. But now it's like this game plan and these play calls, and I feel like you didn't scout this team properly. I think you slept on the Cowboys. I genuinely don't think that they thought I think they slept on the Cowboys once they got up 7-0. I don't think they slept on the Cowboys before the game. I think they did their due diligence there. Don't get me wrong. But I think once they got that pick and once they scored that touchdown 3 plays,
they kicked their feet up and they're like, we got this.
Yeah, they're like, okay, the Cowboys were not as good as we all thought. Game over. Let's go, Kansas City. We score again. Whatever. And then, they have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and plenty of time. Plenty of time. And
I think across the board.
Who was that backup running back? Who had that 40-yard rushing touchdown? Freaking, I forget his name because he's so irrelevant. It's not even Deuce Vaughn. It's Malik Davis, bro. Davis. They don't even have Deuce Vaughn anymore, man. They don't even have, like, Tony Pollard or
I just think across the board in terms of coaching,
Davis.
Players, even just fans, right? Like all across the board. Right now is where our playoffs begin. Right now. We have to win preferably every game. And even then, right? We still need a little bit of luck to make it in the playoffs, right?
So let's talk about that.
We got some interesting numbers here. Our associate producer, Jackson, helped out with that. Just to help ease the mind a little bit. Like obviously I'm still in the part where, hey, we probably have about a 30% chance to make the playoffs realistically. I'm content with that, but these guys are a little bit more optimistic and they're going to show you why.
Well, I mean, if you look ahead at the schedule, we look at the whole schedule as a whole. I'm sorry, Spotify listeners, you're going to have to go to the YouTube for this part of the show. But our home record right now, we've only lost one home game, and it was to the Eagles week 2. Every other home game we've won. Now, if you look ahead at the 5 remaining games, you have 3 home games. And who are those opponents? The by far most important opponents. Houston, LA, Denver. You have to win Houston and LA. If you don't beat Houston and LA, the playoffs, goodbye.
Over.
It's over. So if we lose to Houston, Garrett, I think we will have to be saying goodbye playoffs, and we will have a very doomer episode of Talkin Chop. I don't want that to be the case. Okay, you beat Houston. You have to beat LA. If you don't beat LA, you need miracles to happen. But it could happen still. We won't be as doomer. You got the Titans and Raiders away. And those games make me very optimistic. I think we will kill the Titans and Raiders. Garrett's not as sure, but if you look at our schedule, we've beaten every bad team on our roster.
I know
we've
for
beaten
a fact,
every we've beaten every bad team.
I know for a fact we could blow out Tennessee and the Raiders. But like the way we have played football this year, there's just a chance, right? Like we could just drop an egg against the Titans and we just like, I understand it's probably not going to happen, but like, we need to win 4 or 5. Probably need to win 5 or 5, and I'm just not as optimistic about going 5 for 5.
I think we could go 4 or 5 and still make the playoffs, but that one loss has to be to Denver or the Raiders, I guess.
It probably, yeah. If we lose to either Denver or the Raiders, that's probably the ones we could lose to.
No, I mean, honestly, crazy enough, the Titans. I mean, losing that game might not mean anything for playoff implication because the Raiders still might.
But Texans.
We might need to win. We might need to beat the Raiders for the AFC West tiebreakers if we want to win the division, because there's that world where we could somehow sneak in by winning the division. The Broncos are going to have to lose a lot of games for that. So
I don't see that happening. But
I don't see it happening either. I think the Broncos, but that's why we see it as more of a possibility. Garrett, is let's look at the remaining schedules of the other teams. Jackson has made this amazing graphic that I didn't download, so let me download it real quick. It's on my desktop, but Jackson put together a list of all the other opponents that everyone else has to play, and that is on your screen right now as it covers us up. But that's okay. I'll come over here. Hey. Denver plays the Raiders, the Packers. The Packers are good. The Jags, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. Those last 3 games are all playoff picture AFC teams, so those are all going to be really hard games that they're going to have to win. You have the Patriots. I'm not really concerned about how they finish the season. They're probably going to get that seed no matter what, but they do actually have a decently hard schedule. Not really hard, though. They got the Jets, Dolphins, and Giants, so they're fine. The Jags, though, is really interesting. The Jags and Colts here, Garrett, are the ones that we're going to be watching. We were talking about this earlier. The Colts could all of a sudden collapse, and we have the tiebreaker. The Colts sitting right now, what are they, 8-4, or are they 8-3?
I think they're 8-3.
But they have games against the Jags twice, the Seahawks, Niners, and Texans. Yeah. They're 8-4. The Colts are 8-4. If they lose 3 games,
with the way they've been playing now recently, like if this was earlier in the season, I'd say yeah, they win these games. But the way they've been playing now, they're not beating the Seahawks. Texans are playing well. They're not beating
Niners
the 49ers.
Are playing well. And the Jags, they would probably.
And
split.
Do they sweep the Jags? I don't think they do.
So all
realistically,
of a sudden,
if they lose 4 or 5, even 3 or 5, and we win 4 or 5, we're tied with them and we're in.
Exactly. And then you look at the Bills. They have a decently hard schedule too. You have the Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, Jets. I will say them beating the Steelers was really good for the Bills' playoff chances. I think that was a very must-win game for them.
I think they perform well, finish out, and I think they easily make it in.
So then you look at the Texans. We have to beat the Texans because look 100%. At their schedule. They play the Chiefs, and then they play the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Chargers, who are hard, and then the Colts, who that game could mean a lot. What I love, Garrett, is these last games. Week 18 is going to be insane. This might be one of the most entertaining Week 18s of NFL history.
Just the way the season's been lining up, it's going to be electric Week 18.
Yes, some of these matchups, like Texans, Colts, Bills, Jets. I'm kidding about Bills, Jets. But Broncos, Chargers is going to be huge because the Chargers will be fighting for a playoff spot. Did I even talk about the Chargers yet, Garrett? Because that's the team that we kind of really need to lose, and also we need them to lose and us to beat them. They play the Eagles, then the Chiefs, then the Cowboys, who are really good, the Texans, and the Broncos. They could
all with Justin Herbert having a broken left hand.
They could lose all those games. They could literally lose out. And
do I think they're going to go 0-5? No, but realistically,
they could lose any of those games. And then they just lost. Well, they beat the Raiders, but they looked like they could have lost to the Raiders anyway. All this to say, if you are being a doomer right now and you're being a Chiefs fan and you're all sad, look at the league. If we win out, we're in the playoffs. We just have to win out. If we lose one game, we need some stuff to happen and we're in the playoffs. If we lose 2 games, we're out. If we lose to the Texans or Chargers, we're out. So there is a lot more things to be optimistic about than before.
And if we look at this as a grand scheme, right? Like I feel like I've seen so many discussion talks. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I can't wait for that." Chiefs have been eliminated from playoff contention Twitter post or whatever, right? And it's like, at this point, I'm very content with where Chiefs football has been, to the point where I'm not mad if we miss the playoffs. Sure, I'm disappointed I want my team to succeed and play well. But the way we've played so far this season and the way our off season has been handled, especially in the upper offices, do I think we absolutely deserve to make the bowl and win it this year? No, right? But it all comes down to how we're going to finish out the season, right? Because like people are like, oh, it's going to be over. If we miss the playoffs, like that's it, we're done forever. I'm like, the Pats went 10 years without a Super Bowl.
But they made the playoffs. But still,
right? They made the play. I'm just saying, right? Like we don't have to be in it every single year. Obviously, that's great. I'd love for us to do that. But that's just not football. Like we've seen that this year, dude. Any team can beat anybody. This has been the closest in terms of record, I think, that I've seen in, I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Garrett. You were talking about this at the beginning of the show before we actually went on. What does winning do? It disguises the problems that exist within the organization.
Yes, it does.
We get that report card like every year, and we always pretend like, it's not a big deal. We keep winning. There's no way that the Chiefs have an F- ownership or that they have F- facilities and training and F this, F that, like F everything. But that player report card does mean something. And those issues have always gotten covered up because we won.
And the fact owners are trying to get rid of those report cards is diabolical. They're trying to ban those. They're like, nah, guys, we don't want report cards anymore. That's diabolical. That's like evil stuff, bro.
And our associate producer has something to add to this conversation right now. Jackson, you have the floor.
So on the topic of just being disappointed, if we don't make the playoffs, Chiefs are over. We're done. Dynasty's over. Yes, the Patriots went 10 years, and David, you made that point. They made the playoffs. They did not make the playoffs after they lost the first Super Bowl against the Giants. So I'm just saying, even if we don't make the the playoffs, even I don't think this might just be a rough spot in the dynasty. This might just be that rough patch year.
Like, and every other fan's gonna be like, oh, it's just cope. Like we're just coping, but like, especially Denver fans right now, like, there's a couple fans, like, I'm cool with Denver fans for the most part. I hate Raiders fans just because I hate the Raiders. I don't like Eagles fans. Actually, I think Eagles fans are really funny when they lose.
Let's talk about that real quick. Garrett,
funny.
The Eagles fans just egged and vandalized the house of their offensive coordinator after losing to the Bears.
Funniest fans in the league, dude. Win or lose, they're trashing something. And it's the best. But dude, Denver is having themselves a ride on social media. They're definitely on the high horse, no pun intended. But I just think it's funny when they're like, they're just talking all that lick and all that trash. And I get it. Hey, they're up right now. They're playing well and they're winning these close games. But like, I just see so many people getting so like up in arms and so like offended. But I'm like, dude, it's just football season, baby. All I'm waiting for is if we make the playoffs, dude, I know for a fact, you know what Denver fans aren't wanting if we make the playoffs? To play us. They don't want it.
Nobody wants to play us.
Because could you imagine the uproar if we make the playoffs? Not only all the allegations that the NFL's rigged, but if we beat Denver in the playoffs, the implosion from all the Bo Nix channels on Twitter and Instagram it's going to be glorious. Glorious.
See, right now, we're lurking in the shadows. We're staying patient. We're staying humble because we know at the end of the day, this team is going to come through. And even if they don't come through, it's going to come back better next year, especially with, like we said, problems that need fixing. Bad contracts, signing players that don't fit your scheme. We talked about it a little bit. Like the Josh Uche trade was weird because Spags didn't like that kind of player for his scheme. And now Uche's doing great on the Eagles. Similarly, other signings that have been made, bad contracts, bad trades, bad roster management entirely. Like, those things will get fixed if they get highlighted as a problem. But if they somehow get band-aided over in the season and we end up going to the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl, I'm okay with that result too, Garrett. I'll tell you that. We'll end it off with a little bit of like player talk. There was some rumors floating around. I mean, not even rumors. I mean, wonderful journalist Kay Adams had Tyrann Mathieu on her show today. And Tyrann talked about not only coming back for the Chiefs, but also the Texans. He retired this year, and he's like, you know what? If a team needs me to come back, I might do it. We could use some veteran leadership, Garrett. I wouldn't hate the idea of Tyrann Mathieu coming back to the Chiefs. You have Mike Edwards playing off the practice squad. He can't be much worse than Mike Edwards at this point in his career. I just think you need some leadership back there because the safeties look lost. I mean, Jamari Connor's season stats are 45 targets, 40 catches allowed, 3 penalties, 553 yards allowed, 3 touchdowns allowed, and only 2 freaking pass deflections. He's only hit the ball out of the air twice, Garrett.
On 45 targets is crazy. On 45 targets is crazy. I playing safety.
It goes without saying, 0 interceptions too. And I am not even a Jamari Connor hater. I kind of am a little bit now, but that might
he's being forced to become a Swiss Army knife in this defense, and
he's being forced to be a Tyrann Mathieu. That's what he is. That's what they think he is. He's not.
Yeah, you know what this team's really missing? Like, we can bring Tyrann Mathieu back, but this team is missing the clutch factor, and I think there's one player I know that if we brought back would immediately add clutch factor, and I think you know who that is.
Are you talking about
Dan
another safety?
Sorensen, baby, bring him back. The clutch fourth quarter god.
Yeah, I've already seen people comparing Shamari Connor to Dan Sorensen. Don't ever disrespect Daniel Sorensen like that. You're not a real Chiefs fan.
Dan Sorensen might have let up 150 yards in a game, but if you needed one man to get an interception to win a game, it's Dan Sorensen.
If you need one stop on the goal line in the playoffs against the Browns, it's Dan Sorensen. Was that helmet-to-helmet contact? No, that's helmet-to-football contact because that's how you play. Dude, Daniel Sorensen, man, for all the bad
I missed the Dan Sorensen talk, dude.
He was probably the most average player ever, and he got so hated on for being average.
He was average, but the immediate clutch factor.
Yes, he was clutch and average.
He would make me throw a chair through a window for the entire game, but when the game is on the line, there's no one else you want on the field but Dan Sorensen.
Obviously, I'm not advocating for Dan Sorensen to come back. Like, he's definitely not in his prime at all. But we need a leader like that. You need a veteran presence in the safety room. It could have been Justin Reed. You got rid of him in the offseason. So, all this to say, Garrett, I think that we have a good shot at making the playoffs. I'm not worried yet. Let's beat the Texans. Will Dameon Pierce make an impact? I mean, he's alleged to come and play some meaningful football against the Texans. That was a nice signing that I did like, that we did recently. Talked about it, should the KC sign Dameon Pierce like 2 weeks ago, and then here we are, we have him in against his former team. Would be cool, would be awesome. Who knows? But all this to say, like Xavier Worthy said in his interview lately, good things to come in KC. Stay tuned. That's what he said in an interview recently.
Hey, look, it's going to be a race to the finish for a lot of teams, and let's just hope we can get our foot across the finish line and keep going into the overtime.
Guys, I know we normally preview the team that we're about to play, and we normally do our predictions, so we're going to speed run it really quickly. It's going to be a little minute speed run of the predictions because we already know what the Texans are about. They beat the Bills. They're a very capable team. They beat the Bills with Davis Mills, that is, but they got Stroud back. I think we match up decently against the Texans with our defense versus their offense, but I think their defense against our offense is a very bad matchup for us. I think their edge rushers are going to eat our tackles alive. We need to establish a run game because their interior is not as strong, but it's still strong. We need to establish a run game. If we don't, then we're not going to win. I say we play similar to the Colts. I would like to see Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Dameon Pierce each get a minimum of 10 carries, each of them. So that would be really cool to see. Let's get a 3-headed monster going. Let's really commit to running the ball. Let's use Kelsey a lot. I like that mismatch with the linebackers. Yeah. I think Azeez Al-Shaair is completely overrated, but we'll see.
Headhunter Azeez Al-Shaair, you mean?
Yes, headhunter Azeez Al-Shaair.
Quarterback missile. The man himself.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I'd be surprised if either team gets to 20 points, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's hard with the Texans because they've just been so all over the place this season. I know C.J. Stroud's missed some time, but even when he's been in the game, he hasn't been the C.J. Stroud of the past couple of years that we've seen him being able, especially in terms of playmaking ability. I agree. I don't think it's going to be super low. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I could still see us both getting into the 20s, maybe like a like a 23-20 kind of game, something around that motive. But I mean, they have a pretty decent offensive line. Their D line's gonna probably eat against our offensive line, especially with Josh Simmons out. Hopefully, Jalen Moore can go out there. We paid him for a reason. He needs to go out there and play well. But I think this is probably going to be, besides Denver, I think this is going to be the hardest game of our next 5.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you guys so much for talking some chop with us. This was a really fun episode. I love doing fun stuff like dressing up comfortably. It's totally not because I just didn't want to do anything today, as I'm hungover as shit. But yeah, like,
man, really letting it rip today, huh?
Oh yeah,
somebody's you've got it feeling today.
That's right. Because listen, it's Talkin Chop. It's a snow day. The Chiefs need to win, and we need to win. So we're going balls to the wall here, Garrett, for the final stretch. Let's go. This Texans game is going to be immaculate, and it's on my anniversary with my girlfriend for 2 years. The Texans.
So we got to get a dub.
That'd be a nice gift also. But damn, dude, we're gonna have to. Listen, she's so sweet. She's letting us watch the game during our anniversary. So we're getting the dinner reservations before the game, and then Sunday Night Football, Chiefs Texans, baby. So yeah, let's go.
Hey, I'm gonna be there.
Hey, Jackson's gonna be there, and Jackson has a really good record when he's there, right? Jackson, you've seen him.
I need to correct that. We've got a very good record of me going there since we've had Mahomes.
Yes, okay, that's fair.
Before that, I had never seen the Chiefs win a game in Arrowhead before Mahomes came here.
That's pretty good. Fair. When I'm there, I'm undefeated still. No, we lost to the Eagles recently when I went, and that was like, that
last time, well, actually, no. I went to the Raiders game at Christmas.
Yes, you did. Oh, I didn't go. I was supposed to go. One. I was supposed to go with you, and then I bailed out last minute. I feel bad about that. My parents were like, do you really want to go spend Christmas watching the Chiefs? I was like, yes, I do. But it was like last minute we didn't go, and then we lost. So it's my fault, Garrett. I'm sorry.
That bad streak of us losing when I was going there, that's the reason I didn't want to go to the Titans playoff game, AFC Championship, all those years ago.
We were all there. I was there too.
I was like, I'm not fucking going to this because I was there last time we played the Titans in the playoffs.
If you made it to the end of the show, we're no longer family friendly.
Yeah, sorry. That one slipped out. I did not want to see another quarterback pass it to a touchdown to himself. Right on.
Oh, you went to that one.
Yeah.
I thought you meant.
And I was on that 10-yard line.
I went to the one that we won, the Titans AFC Championship game. You went to the AFC wild card game where we lost to the Titans, where they deflected it to themselves. Marcus Mariota, who almost beat the Broncos last night. So anybody could beat anybody. So we're done. We're done talking chop. So good night. Good night, Kansas City. Enjoy your snow day. Good night, people around the world who love the Chiefs.
And we're always talking chop, baby.
We're so talking chop.